Hey guys, this is Ray with First Down Sports. I'm sitting here with our producer, Andy. How's it going?
How's it going, Ed?
Awesome. Now, if you like our videos, make sure you press subscribe right here.
Exactly. And if you like this upcoming video, make sure you click like. It's down in this region somewhere, and you can leave a comment there too.
Thanks, guys.
The back judge is Ray Dunn. The head linesman is Paul Mullins. The line judge, Greg Welton.
He's over there
and
somewhere.
the field judge, Vince Williams.
Welcome to First Down Sports. As always, I'm your host, Ray Dunn. With me at the end of the table is my brother, Chris Dunn.
How's it going, eh?
Also sitting to my left tonight is our producer / co-host, Andy Jardine.
Yo.
And sitting back at the back of the room on sound and audio is my little brother, Nicky Dunn.
Hey, guys. Hi, Nick.
Now, before we get started tonight, I just want to say, as of tomorrow, welcome to our official second year as a podcast. Don't know if you guys realize that, but it started on August 31st of 2016, which happened to be my birthday.
I was going to say, don't you have a birthday coming?
Yeah, and it is again tomorrow, but officially tomorrow will be our second year. So we made it a full year as a podcast, which is kind of crazy.
Kind of cool. I think you turned 52 at the time, right?
52, that's 52. Right. 52. Playing golf like a 35-year-old. But I'll get into that later on. Now, we wouldn't have made it through 1 year as a podcast without these sponsors. So let's thank our sponsors real quick. We've got, again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever day of the week. Make sure you get yourself a Moosehead. Moosehead Light is pretty good. Scary good.
Scary good.
And if you're a sports team, an organization, a company, whatever the case may be, a school. Now the school's going back to school teams.
Box company?
Yeah.
And
a box company for sure.
Company.
Especially.
And you need to get yourself some hats, shirts, whatever. Go see our buddies the Doyles. Doyle's Corporate Image.
Doyle rules.
They rule.
And lastly, if your kitchen sucks, and if you're in Moncton, New Brunswick, most likely it does.
Oh,
Probably.
wow.
All right?
Ooh.
You got to go see my little brother Nick's company, and that's Done Right Buffalo Sauce.
You like the sauce?
It's so spicy.
You like the sauce? It's gonna clean that kitchen up.
Fix it.
All right, let's get into some local sports. So as of last week, I was telling you guys that the AUS football season was kicking off. We had a couple fantastic games in the AUS, and before we even get into the games, I just want to remind the listeners, those that want to watch the AUS, if you go to Google and search AUS television, you can watch the games online, and it's great coverage. It's all done through Bell. But we had two great games this week. Opening games was St. Avex in St. Mary's. St. Mary's wins that ball game 38-23. They're led by St. Mary's new quarterback, Caleb Scott. Threw for 26 for 47, 367 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
This kid's got a good arm on him. Through the big game turning point for them was a 63-yard pass for a touchdown to a guy named Achilles Jack. Now, luckily, we don't have a whole lot of AUS fans, so you can't ask me questions about that first name.
I took a shot at it before the show, and that's what I came up with, sort of.
Right.
Yep.
Well, that kid had 5 receptions for 135 yards, so that's a pretty good stat.
Had a nice little game, that guy.
Now, let's get into the Mount A game, because this game was fantastic. I told you guys to watch out for Mount A. They're the team to look at this year. Andy, you went to the game. Let me just recap some stats, and then we'll get into the game a little bit. Mount A wins the game 64-23 over Acadia.
Oh,
the quarterback, Jacob Lukes.
Yeah.
Jacob Lukes. He's got a funny spelling, too.
Yeah, it's weird.
He goes 29 for 36. Now, listen to this, Chris. 402 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Jeez.
This guy was throwing the ball around. He's 5'10", and he's throwing the ball around like Drew Brees.
Yeah.
This guy is awesome. Last year, he's a second-year guy. The first year, he was doing this funny thing behind the line of scrimmage where he'd get the ball, and he was kind of ducking, trying to But this year he's letting the ball go. He did it a couple times, if you noticed. But
I remember you talking about it, and I was watching him, and you're right, he does it. It's almost like this weird pump fake throw that he does where he lowers his shoulder.
Yeah.
And the defense isn't biting because it doesn't even look like a fake throw.
No, it doesn't.
But it didn't matter. Like, first 2 series, Chris, they were trying to run the ball. They couldn't run the ball. I was like, not a lot's changed at Mount A other than this amazing new field and these amazing stands I'm sitting in that didn't exist when I went there. And then they started throwing the ball, and it was like the New Orleans Saints out there. It was insane. Yeah.
I want to get into the game. You just brought up a point because
I'm getting too far out of you.
As a football official, one of the worst games to do was at Mount A, going down to that Soup Bowl. Their field was just like the Sugar Bowl in Fort Erie. Very similar here. It's in a bowl, and after a night of rain or during a game full of rain, it would just fill up with water. When you paid your admission and you walked up the hill, coming up towards the hill, what was your first thoughts when you saw the new field and the stands and the whole bit?
Yeah, Guylaine will tell you, like when we walked through campus, we parked way up by where my old residence used to be, and we walked through campus. So we came around some of the old buildings I used to go to class in, and I said, holy shit, that's the field there.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry, Mom. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, because it used to be, it was in the same place,
same spot,
but it looked just like the field behind it, which is like a soccer field or something now. But I mean, like, stress the word field. It was just a field, man. Like, it looked like a field you would find randomly on the side of the road somewhere. So when I saw it, the fact that you pay your admission, you walk right down. I could have walked onto the turf, really. I mean, you walk around to the new stands, which were very impressive.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't get a lot of great footage or holler at Ray too much, because I didn't know what side of the field he would be on, and I had to experience, the stands. So I went over there, and Ray was. But anyways, I was blown away by it. And I was even more surprised. I won't spoil the game. Well, you've already given the score, but I was even more surprised that their play matches their field now, because they scored more points in this game, Chris, than I saw them score in my 4 years going to Mount A.
Jeez. Question. So did you get a chance to see Ray to be, to start giving him like a rough go? You didn't give him any rough goes?
No, because when I first got there, first thing I did was text him and say, I see 3 officials and none of them are you. Like, did you get called off assignment or something like that? And then I said, well, I want to go sit in the stands. And then when I finally went to sit in the stands, the players started making their entrance because they were just leaving the field from the warm-up when I got there. And then a bunch of other officials came out, and I saw number 36.
Oh, the 3 officials you saw were actually the minor officials. They're the ones running the sticks.
Yeah.
So they're minor officials. So we're all in our dressing room having our pregame.
Right.
And then I was responsible to go to Acadia's dressing room and bring the Acadia players out to the field. Okay. So that's where I was during that time.
Well, I was planning on going. My kids turned out to be a little badass crazy that day. Sorry, Andy's mom. But they acted a little crazy that day, so I couldn't make it.
Yeah, I assumed something came up, and we were watching for you guys to just to wave at you or something if you came in. But no, we yelled at Ray like twice in walking by, but it was mid, like a play had just finished, and you were So
you do know what the theme's going to be in this episode, right?
Yeah.
What?
A lot of apologies.
Sorry, Andy's mom. Sure.
All right, let's get back to the game. Chris, and again, this isn't just for Chris. Any of our local listeners, if you want to go see a high quality football team, this is the team you want to go see this year. Number 19, wide receiver for Mount A.
Man amongst boys.
Okay. Really?
Oh my gosh.
He's 6'1", 190 pounds from Brampton, Ontario. His first name is Malik Richards. And he caught 7 passes for 126 yards, 1 touchdown, and his longest reception was 49 yards.
Jeez.
Then that's him right there.
Yeah.
Fantastic football player.
Nice.
Then we had Moncton's very own big Josh Hicks, number 84, 5 receptions, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 38 yards is his longest. And then number 3, Malcolm Miller, 105 yards, 1 touchdown, 30 yards. I mean, these are big numbers for University. 3 receivers over 100 yards.
I was amazed at the quality, man. I saw a pick 6. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they went nutso at the end of that first half in the second quarter, and it was just nonstop. Like the points, it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was blown away because I sat through like the record-setting. I think it was 70 something to 3 lot. Like, I mean, they were horrible when I went to school there. I can't believe how good they are.
Well,
Nice.
it was really great.
So, quick question. So the team they played against, what do they normally rank?
Acadia?
Yeah.
Well, Acadia in the AUS division, Acadia is ranked second or third the last 3 years. They've got a brand new quarterback. Their quarterback retired, he reached his 5-year cap. You're only allowed 5 years of eligibility. He hit his 5th year last year. They got a second-year player in himself, but you could tell he doesn't have the confidence or the weapons that this kid from Mount A has.
No,
So
yeah, and they were a good run stopping team. They had a good line. Their front seven was pretty strong, but their secondary couldn't hang with these receivers, especially 19. Wow, that guy. Wow.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
the running back,
It was fun.
running back Chris Reed, he also is from Brampton, Ontario.
That guy.
Chris Reed, 12 attempts, 41 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he can score down at the goal line. Great runner.
Nice.
All right, so that's your AUS wrap up. I'm very excited. I didn't have any controversial plays in that game.
Nope.
I had one play. Josh Hicks was down at the goal line. There was a little bit tugging before the ball came. There was a little bit of tugging.
Yeah.
I ruled it incomplete because the ball was uncatchable. Explained it to the coach, no problem. So that was my only.
That was the only one I saw.
My only play that I really was involved in all day almost.
Their feet got tangled up. And
Yeah.
The receiver went down. Ray didn't throw the flag, and I was like, "Oh, this could be good. This could be
could be
good."
good.
Yeah, but it was nothing.
Now I got a quick golf story for you, and I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, here comes Ray talking about his golf game
Time
again.
for a drink.
But this time it's not about me. Okay. Now I may mention something about me, but here's a good one. Okay. On Friday, every Friday afternoon, I play golf with a couple guys from the course. Roger Nason, one of our listeners, being one. He was also one of the guys here for the mock draft.
Roger.
2 of the guys that we were supposed to play with couldn't make it, so we reached out to his son, and I reached out to Jeannie to play with us. And you should have seen hole number 10. Jeannie, first of all, on hole number 2, sank about a 60-foot birdie to make birdie. Then we get to hole number 10, dogleg left, uphill green, protected by 2 bunkers. She bombs her drive out. She's got about 110 yards, 120 yards to the middle of the green. It's a blue flag on the back of the green. It's a back to front sloping green, so it's uphill.
And it was in the back? Okay.
So Jeannie's at 115 yards. She pulls out her iron, hits a worm burner, and in her fashion, she's pissed off. She walks to the back of the cart. She's putting her club away. She's not even watching her ball. The ball slowly climbs up onto the green. I said, Jeannie, you're on the green. I don't care. It's a bad shot. So the ball's going. It's going. And as it's tracking right towards the cup, and boom,
And
she makes an eagle. on the hardest ranked par 4.
Jeez.
Not just in Mountain Woods, but probably in Moncton.
yeah.
Now, so
Arguably.
No, it is. It's one of the toughest holes in Moncton, par 4.
I'm arguing it.
Now, the boys at Moncton this weekend have a super skins game. $20 for skins to get in. And I'm saying I can't play this weekend because I'll be away with my football game. I said, so I'll tell you what, boys, I'll double it. Put me down for $40, but Jeannie's Eagle stands. And they won't do it. Can you believe? Come on.
Yeah.
Help this girl out.
Well, I'll tell you this, Jeannie. It doesn't matter how you get them, and it starts with an eagle. So be proud of it. I know a guy who has a hole-in-one to his record that he's grown very proud of and talks about it all the time. And it was a sculled 5-wood that went off a tree far right of the green and managed to have the perfect bounce on.
Wow.
I know several people who witnessed it. I wasn't there, but trust me, if he can be proud of that.
Yeah, but
That's a nice eagle.
here's the thing about Jeannie's, though. When her ball went in the cup,
Yeah.
we were all freaking out. She never saw it.
No.
It was the best shot of her life, and she didn't see it because she was at the back of the cart freaking out.
Well, yeah, I agree with
beautiful.
I agree with her if she doesn't consider that the best shot of her life since she hit a worm burner. But I mean, it was straight. It was where it was heading in the direction it needed to go.
Muscled it.
All right, so I want to let you guys also know this, that my men's night team, we were pushed to the brink of elimination. And somehow I willed the way to get us to extra holes. I made a birdie on number 13 in Mount Woods. Dunn and Rye are still alive, heading into the semifinals.
Right, that was the part where he wasn't talking about him, Chris. Yeah, remember, he wasn't going to mention himself.
I can't help it. All right, here we go. Let's get into some sports.
All right, we're ready to talk about sports.
We're talking some sports, and we're going to start off with CFL, okay?
Yep.
Because, Andy, we've been talking about it. We've been riding them all year long, the Ottawa Red Blacks. We said that this could be the TSN turning point of their season with BC rolling in to play them this week.
Yep.
Not sure if you saw the game. Ottawa wins this game 31-24. The interesting thing about this game, Harris has a good game. He goes 30-45, 326 yards and a touchdown. But with 5 minutes left to go in the game, Ottawa was winning 31-3. With 5 minutes left to go, they were winning 31-3.
Oh.
And this time it wasn't the defense. Harris comes out, throws two interceptions.
Two interceptions.
Points are scored. Next thing you know, it's 31-24, and it was the defense that won this game, making a late game interception. So the defense actually showed up this week.
It's about time, defense, because you've really lost most of these games. Let's be honest. I mean, Harris and the offense can only do so much. Yeah, there were times where they could have done a little more, but good on you guys, and maybe it is the turning point.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
What are they? 1 point out of I got the standings here.
They are. So they're now 3-6-1. They've moved into second place overall of the East Division.
Look at this.
Wow. These guys are looking for the playoffs.
Right, and the way the CFL is weird, right? So the winner of the East Division is in for sure, and then there's a crossover if everybody's pathetic, which this is the worst Eastern Conference of any sport I've ever seen. Okay, all right. Well,
keep in mind there's 9 weeks left of the regular
plenty
season,
of time.
so
plenty of time.
These numbers can change. Now, before we move off the Red Blacks, I have to give a huge shout out to an Ottawa Red Blacks super fan. Her name is Melanie Tremblay. Melanie Tremblay. We have a lot of great followers on social media, and Melanie Tremblay, I want to give a shout out to you. So thank you for following First Down Sports.
All right.
Now let's just talk about the other games real quick. Winnipeg, Montreal. Winnipeg wins that 34-31 in overtime. In a huge game, the Rough Riders roll the Edmonton Eskimos 54-31. That's 3 in a row for the Eskimos after starting off 7-0. Not sure what's going on in Edmonton. And Calgary knocks off Toronto 23-7. But the real news this week has been happening in Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
possibly
let's talk
my
about what happened in
Ticats.
Hamilton. So Hamilton starts off the year at 0-8. Probably at 0-6, they should have fired their coach. Okay? But they waited till after the 8th loss. This week, Hamilton, big controversy in Hamilton. They fire their head coach. Then they hire Art Briles, the disgraced head coach of Baylor University.
Art Briles, yeah.
Briles, that has
Just helping you out.
he's got dozens of allegations of rape, harassment, stalking, you name it.
He's got it.
Okay.
Bad things happening there, yeah.
So the president of the Hamilton Ticats came out and made a public statement this week saying it was a bad error of judgment in making this decision. They decided to let him go as quick as they hired him.
It's too late. Yeah.
You got to go.
And now, today, Andy's buddy, Johnny Money Manziel, is trying out for the Hamilton Ticats. And initial reports were that they were not interested in the way that this this trial went. But Andy, give us your up-to-date speed as far as what's going on with Johnny Money Manziel.
So what I heard was he came up, he auditioned he did a workout for the team, and a lot of people were reporting that Ottawa said, listen, this guy's not ready physically or mentally to play, right? And then there was another quote saying this guy has way too many red flags. Pro Football Talk came out and said, all right, TSN, they were half right. They're not signing him right now, but they're still very, very interested in Johnny Manziel. And they, they're going to look more into it, so on and so forth. So the door isn't closed there. And Ottawa Red Blacks, you're on notice. Like, you may lose a fan at this desk if Johnny Manziel joins the CFL, because as he was useless in the NFL. I had no expectations for him when my Browns drafted him, but this kid is the circus. It's just too much fun, and they need a big boost, and he would be perfect. Like, the ratings on a Hamilton Ticats game, at least for the first little bit, would just go through the roof. I want to see Johnny Manziel play in the
I do
CFL.
Too. Chris, I want to ask you, out of the three of us, you watch the CFL almost non-existent.
Yeah,
so you have a little bit.
Yeah.
Would a name like Johnny Manziel take fans like yourself and turn them into somebody that would watch more often to see what happens with Manziel?
Well, it's obviously going to be an attracting piece to say, what's going on over there. I've already been vocal, with some of the things that I wish the CFL, certain things, I'm not going to get into it, but I wish there were certain things that would change in the CFL. And I think that would bolster a little bit more people moving over. But of course, I see Manziel. Yeah, I definitely want to see it. I think it's a great thing that Manziel going there. I wish you would see more of these things of failed NFL quarterbacks. We've talked about it already in past shows. Moon, Flutie, where they've had success and then brought it over to the NFL. Why not? Why
Look at
not?
Jeff Garcia.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many good stories. Tim Tebow, Ryan Leaf. Like, there was homes there for all those guys.
Yeah.
But ego, gets in the way, I guess.
But the game gets in the way too. I mean, there's some really, sorry, Chris,
Yeah.
there's some guys that are just cut out to be CFL quarterbacks that, some National Football League. Like, you can't just say automatically that, say, a second tier, maybe not, you know what I mean, like a backup quality quarterback in the NFL can come up here.
No.
Because we've seen them try and just start for a team and dominate. It doesn't work that way. These players are not as slow as everybody thinks they are, right?
That's right.
The field is gigantic. The game's a little different. If Johnny came up here and was a successful CFL quarterback, why not? That's enough. Try it out. See what you can do. I would be so much more glued to this league if there were. I wish that at least half the CFL had these failed NFL quarterbacks playing for them. Yeah. Guys that we've seen try and not succeed, like Geno Smith's playing for the Eskimos or something like that.
Yeah,
I'd be all over these games.
Yeah,
right, absolutely.
Tebow, and even to push it a little further, it'd be kind of cool to see there are talents out there. Like, I think it's Terrell Owens could be someone that could still go into the CFL and have success.
Well, the NFL has been talking for years about having a developmental league. Okay, because it's out of all the pro sports, it's one of the leagues that really don't. They created NFL Europe, and there's been the UFL, there's been some other, but the CFL has got credibility now, and there's a lot of U.S. fans that do watch the CFL.
Yeah.
So why not create a bigger partnership there? And I know
they've tried, right?
I know the CFL. Well, part of it's the CFL because they don't want to be seen as the NFL's development league.
Yeah, because they were the first ones, right? Yeah.
Because they were the first professional football league.
Yeah.
But there has to be some bending there because I really see a benefit, whether it's Vince Young, whatever, all those guys. I would love to see those guys go to the CFL, work on their game, and who knows? Maybe there is an opportunity for an NFL team.
And maybe they just become a Hall of Famer in the CFL.
Like Warren Moon. He's a Hall of Famer in the NFL and CFL.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be an NFL Hall of Famer if it wasn't for his time for the CFL.
Well, and I think a lot of things too is if you look at like some of the draft picks that get regurgitated out, where they come in, doesn't work out, get rid of them, they go to like maybe an arena league or something, or they just phase out altogether. If they had time to maybe, go to a developmental league, work with the team that they're up and coming, like you see it with the AHL, like with hockey. If they didn't have the AHL sitting there, a lot of these kids would just phase off and be done.
So two things. Let me ask you this, though. So let's say CFL swallowed their pride and said, you know what, it's not so bad being the developmental league for the NFL. Let's do it, right? All of a sudden, they're officially known as that, and players from down south know that they have to get into the CFL to audition to be in the NFL, right?
Right.
You're not going to have a choice but to kind of get rid of that whole, there's a certain number of Canadian players you must have on the roster. You know, because I mean that's part of what keeps a Canadian, right? I think they really hang on to that.
Yes.
And you know, you'd have to scrap that, right?
Yeah, but that number is very minimal. It's not a big.
How low is it?
It's not a big number. I can't tell you exactly, but it used to be like 20%. Now I think it's like 10 or 5% of your roster.
Yeah, but you realize that like all these undrafted free agents that don't make it, all these undrafted college players, and like there's way too many of these guys to even fit in the CFL. That the NFL would say like, hey, listen, put an end to this rule.
Yeah, but
your Canadian guys can play if they're good enough to be in our development league.
But keep in mind this though. Okay, let's look at it from another aspect real quick. Is in today's world, I agree with you 100%.
Yep.
But let's say the CFL really does make the decision, okay, we're going to work with the NFL here, because they already are, from an officiating standpoint, NFL officials are going to the CFL for development to go back to the NFL. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
No, wasn't.
But my point is this, is if the CFL could make this agreement, there could be a potential expansion.
Sure.
And not just Canadian teams, but back across the U.S. border like they did in the past and did have some success down there.
Yeah, there were Grey Cup champs down there, right? Baltimore.
If there's one thing that the CFL could use is more revenue. And if the NFL was to share some of their pockets with the CFL, some TV, you know, there is an opportunity for growth for the CFL by kind of bending a little bit and exploring this. Now, I'm not saying it's the best thing for the CFL. I'm not a CFL expert. I'm not 100% sure. But from the sideline, I can't see why it can't be a good thing.
I'd watch.
I think the problem is what you guys have pointed out more, Ray, I think, in this is you have some diehard CFL fans out there that I think there would be a serious drop-off if they knew that this was being, you know, the NFL was to start being incorporated to their league.
Yeah.
I think you'd see, it would be a risk. I think there could be a big drop-off.
We need to move on from this, Chris, but I'll say to this because, you know, I know you don't follow the CFL much. Like our buddies over at the Two and Out podcast that cover CFL, all they're talking about is the only fans the CFL have left are those long-time diehard, like in their 50s and 60s fans, and they cannot attract young fans. Okay. So if you want to lose all those hardcore, you know, longtime fans, but gain younger fans that are fans of the NFL that want to watch it now because it is a developmental league, I'm sure they would take that trade-off.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
They would, because right now, when you look across Canada, and we got to move, when you look across Canada, the only 9 cities that have high CFL ratings are, of course, the home cities of those CFL teams.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
So, all right, let's move off the CFL, and we are going to get into a quick little thing that we talked about today, and this is bold prediction time. We're going to make some bold predictions about this upcoming season. Now, we're going to get into more NFL talk as of next week because it will be the show before opening kickoff, but let's have a couple bold predictions. So, Andy, why don't you take the lead here?
Yeah,
get us started.
All right, so
bold predictions.
All right. Okay.
That was horrible. We
Threw me off. Yeah, maybe we'll come up with something else next time.
Please.
So, listen, we're down to the 4th preseason in the NFL, which doesn't even matter. We know the landscape. Let's talk about some bold predictions here. So, the whole name of this game is support it. Yeah. Even though it's bold, all right? Okay. And I've got 2. I'll start with 1 here. Okay. So my first one is that both the AFC and the NFC are going to have a division this year that sends 3 teams to the playoffs.
Wow.
That's bold.
I think that there's a good opportunity this year with how weak some of the other divisions got around them, that the AFC West, which consists of the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Chargers, and the NFC East, which consists of the Eagles, Giants, Redskins, and Cowboys, those 2 divisions could send 3 teams to the playoffs.
Okay, so
what do you think?
All right, let's back up for a second. Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs.
Right, and we know how you feel about the Chiefs.
3 of those teams are going to the playoffs.
I think there's an opportunity for 3 of those teams to go to the playoffs. I think these 2 divisions I'm talking about are quite wide open. I think that we're going to see possibly 9-7 win the division, maybe 10-6, and then a couple 9-7s. And I think the rest of the divisions in both conferences have weakened enough, or at least potentially weakened enough, that I think these two divisions could send 3 each, and that I could look it up later.
That's bold.
But I could see
bold.
this being a first time ever. What do you think?
That's bold.
I think it's a very bold. I don't know how we get the Chiefs in there.
Well, then maybe the Chiefs don't make it. Maybe the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers all make the playoffs.
Well, with Trevor Siemian,
I think Chargers
three of the 4. That's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
with Trevor Siemian,
Defense.
I don't see it, Andy. But you know what? This is bold prediction.
This is bold predictions.
Bold prediction.
Chris,
All right,
Chris, what's your first bold
Give us a
prediction?
bold prediction.
Well, one of my bold predictions is that the Chargers are going to lead in their division.
They're going to win the division.
They're going to win that division.
Okay.
I'm barring injuries, I think this is the year. I like their defense. I think the defense can hold their own. They showed well. They showed some good signs last year.
Yeah.
And I think if Allen can stay healthy, I really liked about their running back, Benjamin on the side, Williams as well. I think they have some really good stuff.
Awesome.
Okay. I mean, that's boldish. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty
some
good.
people, when I kind of mentioned that around the workplace today, they're like, "There's no way Chargers."
Yeah.
Rivers is getting up there old, and I think people are overlooking that there was a lot of injuries last year with the Chargers.
Yeah, there is every year.
They had to retool basically everything: offensive line,
all right,
no receivers.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
we're gonna remember that.
Well,
Ray,
my first bold prediction has already been made in the fact that I've picked, and I'm sticking with it, Green Bay to win the Super Bowl. So there's my first bold prediction.
okay,
write it down.
That's not
Okay.
bold at all. But all right.
hold on.
yeah.
But here's a
What
bold
a stretch.
prediction. I want you Buffalo Bills fans to think about this.
Okay. Well.
And this has nothing to do with injury,
Okay.
but the quarterback Nathan Peterman
Oh boy.
is going to start multiple games for the Buffalo Bills this year.
Well,
Yeah, that's not bold.
No.
Non-injury related.
Non-injury
I
related.
understand. Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
saying this is because Tyrod Taylor's starting hurt. I'm
Okay.
saying at some point there's going to be a switch that
They're gonna
turns,
hand the reins
and they're
over.
handing the reins over to Nathan Peterman. I don't know if it'll be early on or later on, but at some point I think the Tyrod Taylor train is coming to an end in Buffalo.
I like this. It is bold, but I like it. I like Peterman a lot, and I would love to see them just hand it over to him now, but that'd be insane.
I'm refraining from the Peterman bandwagon yet. I think he's a quality kid. Preseason, as I always feel, makes you learn nothing about a player. So we'll see if he has the ability or the opportunity to start week 1 if Tyrod's out. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm not sold on the guy as the next superstar or anything, but I we talked about it today, Chris. I really feel like the Bills are still a little ahead of themselves. Like they really need to hit this rebuilding phase that some of us have hit, and that would be a mark of them truly hitting it, right? Let's see what this kid has, but it would be insane right now. Given that.
One quick thing, like as a Bills fan, what I really, really fear is like almost like the Trent Edwards type of thing where the kid comes in, shows a good sign of, hey, maybe we can build with this kid. And now with all these draft picks that we have, is we don't trade up, we don't end up getting a quarterback for this next year's draft, and now we're in QB purgatory again for the next 5-6 years.
Fair enough, but okay, I get it. Yeah. All right, my second bold prediction. You ready for this?
Go.
You ready
More
for
bold
this?
predictions.
The New York Jets will not be picking 1 or 2 in next year's draft.
Wow, that's
Is
a
that
bold.
bold for you?
Is that because they're trading that pick or because
No, there's no trades.
Gonna...
In other words, the New York Jets will not finish poorly enough to pick 1 or 2 in the draft. Now I'm going to give you some teams to think about here. So, between the Niners, the good old Browns, the Bears, the Jags, the Rams, and the Colts with this Andrew Luck mess, I think all have an opportunity to finish poorly, very poorly, extremely poorly. And I think the Jets are as bad as we think they are, but when the expectations are that low and teams play down to them, there's enough there on the defensive side, and if Josh McCown can stay even remotely healthy for a game or two, he can take one. And it would be so... it would be so Browns, it would be so a lot of teams for this to happen to them, but it would be so Jets for them to screw this up, because I've never seen any team try to tank like this before. This is insane, the level of... They're taking tanking to a whole new level. And if it doesn't even work... That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
That's
It'd be-
bold, Andy. I got to give you those are two big bold predictions you got over
it
there.
would almost be like a Major League when the owner wanted the team to tank.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, just like that.
Shut it off.
then they win the pennant.
Son of a, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, son of a. Sorry, Andy's mom. My mom.
Sorry, Mom. All right.
All right,
What's your
Chris.
second one?
All right, this one I was searching around to try to find something without going too much out of the realms of being too crazy. But here's one for you: Blake Bortles will start every game, barring getting injuries. He will be the starter right through the beginning to the end of the year for Jacksonville.
Boldish. But I
boldish.
mean, he's got the job
they've
already.
already
but
announced
he's starting.
They announced this week that he's week 1 starter.
That, for sure.
So you're
But-
thinking he will not get benched for performance reasons?
I think like right now there's a good chance that head coach Marone is going to say that's it. Like he's already had frustrations with him in the preseason of saying our quarterback's just not good enough. So and you know how emotional that he can be. I'm feeling that he's going to try to that's it, get him out. You know, he's done that with his stint in Buffalo, not necessarily with the quarterback, but I think it's a long shot for Bortles to be for sure number 1 for the whole year.
But do you think there's just a smidge of a chance then?
And I think he's actually going to do better than what some people think. There's the bold. There's a combination bold.
I talked to you. I mean, I've told you this guy's got Big Ben qualities. I mean, there's no question this guy can turn around and have a decent year for Jacksonville.
One major reason, though, is not necessarily that he's going to have that turnaround from his quarterback skill set. It's going to be that Fournette kid. Yeah. I think he's going to alleviate a lot of pressure for him.
He definitely takes it off him. All right, my last bold prediction. Here we go. My last bold prediction is he's not signed on an NFL team this year yet.
Gary Barnage?
No. Colin Kaepernick will start for an NFL club this season.
Week 1?
No, I'm not saying week 1. At some point this season, Colin Kaepernick will start an NFL game.
Will he stand for every single game?
That's another bold prediction altogether.
That's a combination.
He's already announced that his protest is over.
Yeah.
And they still won't sign him. So,
Yeah.
all right, that was boldish too. I got to teach you guys how to be bold a little bit here.
What do you mean? That was bold.
Injuries are gonna happen.
He's not even on a team yet.
Well, listen, nothing heals wounds like time, right? So the longer time goes by, there's a better chance that quarterbacks are going to get injured, and then people are going to warm up to the idea of him being on the team.
All right, I'm going back to Green Bay winning the Super Bowl. That's the boldest thing going on here at this table.
Okay.
Boldest thing.
That's not bold.
That's our bold predictions, everybody. Oh, before we step off that, Nick, do you have any bold predictions back there? Maybe you want to talk about the NHL?
Nothing.
I think McGregor wins.
His bold prediction. He's gonna catch a
Nick's been in a coma.
14-pound bass.
Nick's been in a coma for a couple of weeks. McGregor wins.
All right, now the camera can't see this, but I just want you guys to know that we have a special guest that has just stepped into our studio. We have a
Andy can't see it either.
We have a CBC producer, Tracy Lightfoot, in the house.
Hey!
And she's ready to give her feedback at the end of the show. So be ready, boys. We're going to be picked apart.
You suck. Let's move on. Nick,
Not CB worthy, not CBC worthy, not CBC worthy.
Nick, you're all right.
Nick, you're all right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some odds and ends now. Our first topic of the night, Mayweather-McGregor. Okay? Mayweather walks away from this fight with 50-0 with a TKO in the 10th round over McGregor. Let's just throw out a couple stats here. There was a few people at this table that didn't think McGregor would do very well, but McGregor landed 111 punches. 26% of his punches landed over 10 rounds. Now, just to compare that a little bit, in his last fight against Manny Pacquiao, Pacquiao went 81 for 429, 19% over 12 rounds. So he did pretty good punch count there. Just to give you an idea, Mayweather did land 58% of his shots, though. He only threw 100. He only landed 170. Mayweather
only 170.
Well, he landed 170.
It's only 170 punches.
No, but they were predicting he was going to kill him.
Yeah,
right?
Keep going with this stats build up for
There's
this
some
point you're
stats
going
here.
to try to
It's
make.
coming.
That's
No, there's no point. I'm just giving you.
this guy.
Mayweather earns $100 million for this fight. Connor earned $30 million. The total pay-per-view purse is estimated to be around $700 million.
Okay.
Which each fighter can expect to double their fight money out of that purse. So there's some stats. What did we think of this fight? Andy, you start, seeing you were the one.
I'll be real quick.
Yeah.
He let us know. He let us know.
So you got all those stats.
Yeah.
And that's good. But I'm going to do to you what you would do to me if I threw a bunch of stats at you, and I'm going to say that the fight ended exactly the way I predicted, and I was right, and let's move on.
Yeah, but you didn't think it was going to 10 rounds.
You said he was
Chris,
going
what
to
do
get
you
killed.
got?
I was expecting, like, when you said you gave us an email, and listen, Andy does it good. He goes, like, I got an email. I'm going to send it out. I'm going to.
Oh, yeah. No. So I had a funny
I got
math
good
thing,
stuff.
right? So I said TKO in 7, right? And it was TKO in 10.
Yeah.
But I argue that the first 3 rounds, clearly Mayweather was just trying to gas him out. He wasn't offensive at all. He wasn't really punching a lot. So I did the math and said, I was right.
That's it.
Yeah, that's felt like a very fitting thing to do at this table. Anyways.
All right, well, here's what I think on that is that there's a lot of people there that I keep hearing on social media that he took off the 3 rounds, which really irks me. He wasn't taking it. Maybe it was a part of his strategy to feel a boxer always feels somebody out.
Conserving his energy.
That's right. I think
that?
it was a good game plan, but by all means, I think he was thrown off. When you watch the fight, you see Mayweather. There was a bout of frustration of trying to figure him out.
Yeah.
He was way better than we thought he would be. The
That's
people
right.
like me, he was way better than we thought he would be.
And I'd say the one thing on McGregor's camp is I think they've trained him too much to be a boxer, because I like his comments at the end where he said there was in his training, once he hit the 6th round, there was a part where he said, that's it, I'm done. And then he had to dig deep. And then it was like, it's like when you're on a treadmill and you're like, oh man, this is tough. And then it's like, oh, I got 3 minutes left, and you get that second bout of energy, and you're like, oh, I can finish this up 3. Right. So I related to those comments. And what I was thinking is that if they would have taught him, if they would have gone in with a different game strategy, because he went in as a boxer, and I thought he did very well, but I think they should have realized that in camp. You're not going to box with them.
What do you want him to go in as then? A fireman?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time following you.
The strategy was we're gonna try to go round for round. We're gonna try to win in rounds. We're gonna try to I think he should have went in with a more of a UFC mentality of let's put this guy to the ground.
Yeah, but I agree with you. In the first round, he landed an uppercut on Mayweather that most UFC fighters would have hit the ground. Mayweather stood there. Yeah, so maybe Mayweather's got a stronger chin than we all gave him credit for.
Or maybe McGregor doesn't hit quite as hard as you think, because normally he's hitting with his bare hands.
But with
not
that,
bare
to that,
hands, but you know what I mean.
But to that point, though, is once if you watch him in a UFC fight, once he hits him, there's a follow up and there's an aggression that you keep like you're on him. When he hit him, he backed up, just like in boxing. So, anyways, I think if they would have went with a more of aggressive style, I think he could have had maybe a better chance than what he did.
I think the best thing about this fight is there's no more Paulie. I'm so tired of this Paulie guy that went and sparred with him. All right, let's move on from the fight. Just a couple real quick here. Elliott was under oath all day yesterday in front of an arbitrator, Harold Henderson, for his appeal hearings. They lasted 10 hours yesterday, and they've gone all day today, expected to go into tomorrow as well. Is Elliott's suspension getting reduced by 6 games? Yes or no?
It's going to be reduced, but not. I'd say 4 games, 4 to 3 games.
Okay, what do you think, Andy?
No, it's upheld this time.
You think it's going to stay at 6?
Yep.
Okay. I'm on the fence. When a hearing goes this long, I have a tough time thinking it's going to get reduced, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford has been awarded a 5-year extension. He's the NFL's highest paid player, earning $135 million with 70% of the money guaranteed. These NFL contracts are getting crazy. With the salary cap, I don't know how these teams are affording these signings. And again, when you look at production in the NFL, is Matthew Stafford worthy to be the highest paid player in the NFL?
Yeah, because he's the latest guy to sign a contract. Like, he's the highest paid player in the NFL
but is
until
he
the next
worthy of $135 million?
Yeah, he is, man. Because the salary cap keeps going up. That's what the market pays quarterbacks right now. If you look at the Derek Carr contract, you have to go, like, I mean, you're going to lose him to somebody else, right? And you have to, if you have a quarterback, even if you might not be a Super Bowl guy, you have to keep him. So, yeah, absolutely. And, like, let's be honest, if Tom Brady was being paid what he was worth, he'd be making $100 million a year.
Yeah.
And they'd be able to afford it.
Right.
And it's the highest commodity on a team.
Yeah, quarterback.
And I hate Tom Brady.
And I hate to say, does he deserve it? But he deserved it more than Carr does at this point in his career. Does.
Yeah.
100%.
Sure.
Toronto's Air Canada Centre is going to be renamed in July of 2018 to the Scotiabank Arena.
Yeah.
Right.
This new agreement between Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment and Scotiabank is worth $800 million over a 20-year term. That now gives them naming rights for Toronto, Calgary, and Ottawa's arenas. Not sure if you guys knew that. The Calgary Saddledome. Ottawa is also Scotiabank. Now they have Toronto. What do you guys think about this? Is $800 million... just to give you a ballpark, Air Canada's paying about $4 million a year for their naming rights of Air Canada Centre.
Yeah.
And these guys are going to be paying about $40 million a year.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
Are you ready for a Chris Dunn joke?
Do it.
I think Scotia might think they're richer than they think.
Nice, very nice.
No, listen, Scotiabank has to be good at something, and we know what they're not good at. So
I did just a couple more stats for you on this. I think you'll enjoy this. The average Toronto Maple Leafs game has just over 19,000 fans. Same with the Raptors.
Yeah.
The Toronto Rock also plays there for about 10,000.
who the heck's the Toronto Rock?
The
Lacrosse team?
lacrosse.
All right.
So they get about 1.75 million fans a year come to the regular season games. So for $800 million, that's what they're paying to advertise to 1.75 million over 20 years.
I'd love to see that.
That's interesting stats.
I'd love to see
plus
what
concerts and shows and stuff like that.
I'd love to see what kind of profit you make really from doing that.
Yeah, it's all right off. It's all right off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it works.
All right,
American.
Joe Hayden from the Cleveland Browns was released today. There's his jersey right over here.
Jersey's coming down.
He's released by the Cleveland Browns today. They've been trying to trade him, no deals. And after being released, he signs a 3-year contract for $27 million with arch rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
What do you think of this?
I think releasing him was fine. It doesn't make them better to release him, but I don't think it makes them much worse.
Okay.
He was getting paid way too much. He was great. Well, he was our 2009 first round pick.
Yeah.
He earned that big contract, and then his play fell off. He got injured a lot. It stings a lot, him going to the Steelers, but this is just life of a fan of a poor team.
Yeah. Buffalo Bills.
Your players are going to go.
Patriots,
they're going to pick them up.
Patriots. It happens
I
over and over.
was going to say the Bills and the Browns, they have very similar, feels like.
Yeah,
And
really
then
do.
this happens. We lose Gilmore to the New England.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
happens. We know exactly how you feel, buddy.
That's how.
Where you want
You know what? I'm neutral on it. Like I said, he doesn't make us much better, or worse. And when I say that, I don't think he makes them much better. I mean, I've seen the guy give up so many plays now that I can't wait to throw against him. Maybe, I don't know.
All right. Chris, before we get out of here tonight, any final thoughts from the end of the table?
Yeah, sad to see Shane Doan going out the way he's going. I wish someone would have taken a stab on him. I've always been a fan favorite of Shane Doan.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's just retired, and good for him.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see him go to a contender. He's had to sit there with the Coyotes for as long as what he had to.
Wow.
So it would have been nice to see him go to a contender like Bork did at the end of his career.
Right.
To try to win something.
Yeah. Doan's what, 42 now? 41,
like
42?
42,
He's
yeah.
up there, yeah. Andy, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Jeannie, you should be really proud of that Eagle, despite it being a bit of a worm burner. I think you should be really proud of that one. Ray, you probably shouldn't be too proud of the fantasy team I saw you draft last night.
Great point.
That's probably all I got, guys. Make sure you join our pick'em pool. We'll put the links in the description of the video and all that stuff and send it out because you're running out of time.
Okay. My fantasy pool was very well, and I'll argue it with anybody. Nick, any final thoughts at the
That
back
should
of the
be good
table?
TV.
I'd like to welcome Marty Baron to the Sabres broadcast.
Yeah.
That's awesome pickup by them. And also, happy birthday.
Happy
Thank you very
birthday.
much, Nick. Thank you. That's why you're my favorite brother. There you go. Man. All right. Before I give my final thoughts, once again, let's thank our sponsors. Whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you get the drill. Get yourself some Moose Light. This stuff's scary good.
So
And if
scary.
you're a sports team or a school team now, don't forget school's back. Organization, whatever the case may be.
Forklift company.
Forklift company, especially.
And you need hats, shirts, jackets, pens, calculators, you name it.
Ties,
Go
shoes.
see our buddies at Doyle's at Doyle's Corporate Image.
rules.
And
Energy.
again,
Energy. Come on, man.
energy. We need energy. And
I'm
again,
like McGregor. It's the 8th round. Man.
he's out to win. He's out to win. And if your kitchen sucks, and you know most likely it does,
Yeah.
you go see my brother Nick for Done Right Buffalo Sauce. It's gonna spice your kitchen up.
Fix your kitchen.
All right. My final thoughts before we get out of here, guys. I just want to say again, it's been a crazy year of starting and hosting this podcast. I really had no idea when I started how much of a role this podcast would take over my life. Whether it's been a local or celebrity interview, I just want to let you know I've enjoyed every single one of them. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come by our set and talk to us.
Say hi.
And for all you guys that have taken the time to listen to the show, interact with our social media pages, take time to view our YouTube pages, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for taking that time. And I promise you that myself and the rest of my team are going to work very hard to keep bringing you interesting and fun content. So before I get out of here, I just have to give another huge thank and big shout out to Serge, the original LeBlanc, because without Serge, we wouldn't be sitting here, buddy. So that's it. Don't forget to check out our website, firstdownsports.com. And Randy Gould and Wayne Quinn, we'll see you on the golf course this week, buddies. Have a great week.
Boom! Ah! Hey, you stole my stuff. I'm officially walleye. Thanks, Andy.
You're welcome, sir.
You know I take everything literal. That's like on
That's a lot.
Guardian of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That's over his head. Impossible.
Yeah. I would catch it.
Too fast.